Today, The Theater Kid is coming out. So if a Broadway musical theater plays theater is not your cup of tea, then this video might not be for you. And I'm actually surprised it's taken me this long to make a theater video. But in honor of the Tonys, I wanted to do a roundup of all the shows I've seen so far this year. I'm not going by the full Tony season because I've seen too many shows, which is not a problem at all. So I'm just gonna do 2024. Today I'm filming before the Tony Awards. So first things first, I want to show a little bit of a look into my Playbill collection. So this is just one set of Playbills. Oh gosh, let's see. So I have them all in here, and it just goes on and on and on and on and on and on. So these are older Playbills. I kind of started with the first that I had in my collection. I saw this while I was in college here in New York City. Any other Playbills before that, I have no idea what happened to them, which is sad. My mom might have a few, which would be nice, but I think I have enough because this isn't it. This is full, and then this box, little New York City taxi box, is also filled to the brim. I took out the stack of what I'll be going through today, so we are swimming in Playbills, and I love it. So let's get into it. So I'm gonna start by going from the most recent to the first of the year. I have the pile here of all the Playbills. I believe they're in order, not that it matters, but I want an excuse to nerd out about theater and all the shows that I've seen. I'm so grateful and lucky that I get to see shows so frequently. We actually go to almost one show a week, which, oh, if little Claire could see me now, oh my gosh, she wouldn't believe it. It's amazing. It's my favorite thing in the world, and I just feel so lucky that I get to go to so many shows. We get the tickets through TDF, shout out. We'll just get whatever is discounted, pop it in the calendar, and then we're off. Okay, the most recent show that I saw is Patriots. This show was absolutely stunning. The actors playing Boris Berezovsky, I believe is how it's pronounced, and Vladimir Putin are otherworldly. The main actor who plays Boris, I actually know him from a TV show, Dope Sick. If you haven't seen that, it's on Hulu. It's incredible. It's really, really, really heavy. So fair warning going in, but it's so well done. And this actor is a huge part of that show, and he was so incredible. The second he walked on stage, I was like, oh my gosh, I know who that is. And it was so exciting, and he did such an amazing job. Oh, he's really good at playing these like narcissistic businessmen. You got it. Yeah, so Patriots, if you don't know, you can obviously look up all of these shows, but Patriots is about Russia immediately following the fall of the Soviet Union. So I believe the play starts in like 1991, and so it's kind of the story of what happened and how certain Russian businessmen, Russian oligarchs made their money and took power and somewhat controlled the government. And there's a lot of layers to it, but then ultimately what happens in the play is we see Boris sort of bring in Putin into politics, and we all know where we are today. So yeah, it was really, really interesting. I think the play was so well written. It was so well performed, and truthfully, it got me really interested in this era of history, and also just in how historical things like this are really important to understand and can shed a lot of light on where we are right now, how we've gotten here, what it might mean, and just that whole journey. So I definitely didn't learn anything about the 90s in Russia throughout my education. So I don't know about you, but I am really intrigued by this. History was never something that I loved learning in school, but I think the more that I see why history is important based on the things that we're experiencing in life today, I become more fascinated by it. And I also think that that is the magic of theater. I mean, like, I'm truly can't stop talking about this play. I can't stop talking about any of the shows that I've seen, and it's usually the most recent until I see the next one and I start talking about that. But I learned a lot, and I'm really drawn to go in and see what was dramatized, what was real. I have an inkling that a lot of it is probably accurate based on the style of the show and the writing. It didn't seem very dramatized or exaggerated, but I don't know, but I'm very curious to learn more. So I love that about seeing shows as much as I love just like seeing a play and having a good time and enjoying theater. So Patriots, yes. Okay, next, or before Patriots, I saw The Wiz. Whoops. I keep all my tickets and there's inserts, and anyway, that's what just fell out. But The Wiz. So The Wiz was really, really special to see because the actress playing Dorothy, Nichelle Lewis, she actually graduated from the same college program that I went to, and she's really good friends with my best friend, Corinna, and so it was really special. I actually went with Corinna, and it was really special to be able to see Corinna, see Nichelle, and see Nichelle myself, and see, this powerhouse of a woman playing this incredible role and this huge role in an iconic show. Side by side, Wayne Brady at the end, he plays the Wiz, and it was just incredible. And it was really fun to feel that personal connection to Nichelle, along with just enjoying the big spectacle that is The Wiz on Broadway. Everyone did such an amazing job. I have personally never seen any other version of The Wiz. I never saw the movie. I'm definitely interested in watching it now, but I didn't know any of the music or anything, and it was so fun. I thought all the characters had such wonderful chemistry. The cast had been on tour previously to this Broadway production, so you could really see that. Especially Dorothy, the Lion, Tin Man, and Scarecrow, they were all so close-knit. Nichelle even said after the show, they're just like brother and sister off stage, and that really comes through with their camaraderie and their support of one another through the story. I just really love seeing that genuine connection of the actors come through in the characters and in the storytelling. So, yay, The Wiz. Now, let's see what was next. Sterophonics. Okay. One of the most, what do I want to say? One of the most unique pieces of theater I've seen recently from beginning to end. It was, at the very beginning, you are just dropped into this world, into this setting, and you are just observing these people, these characters. And what I loved about that was through the whole show, there was never a sense of anything being explained or being put on in a typical theatrical way. It was just so raw, and as the audience, you were just able to observe these characters existing and going through whatever they were going through. And a lot of times there were multiple conversations happening at once on stage, and I loved that. I think that a lot of maybe playwrights or directors or other people in theater, like that might be something that a lot of people try to avoid because it doesn't necessarily read well, or when you're telling a story, you want to tell the audience where to focus, and that didn't always happen. And it was so well done in the way where you picked up the pieces of the conversation that were necessary. And there would be moments where one would pop and one would quiet down or something like that. There were levels to it which felt very intentional. It also just made the whole environment feel so real. It felt very lived in. These people, I know that this cast did the show previously, so that came through. They all the performers felt very, very at home within the story, within their characters and their place in telling the story. And it was so powerful. It was such a moving story, and I just think it was told brilliantly and in such a unique way that I really, really, really enjoyed. Yeah, Sterophonic, check it out. Check all these shows out. See theater. Support the arts. Okay. Moving on. This is the pile, by the way. We're here. We're about to get into the notebook, but just so I don't know how long I'm gonna talk. Obviously, if you're watching this on YouTube, you're already able to see how long the video is before you get into it, but I'm just going, and I have a lot to say, so thank you for allowing me to theater nerd it out. The Notebook. Stuff is gonna fall out of all of these. I need to figure that out. It's fine. The Notebook. Oh my gosh. I don't think that I went into the show with like any big expectations. I had heard nothing but great things, and I'm pretty sure I saw the movie years ago. Honestly, not positive, but I do know the story, and so I just expected a romance story, and I was just curious to see how they were going to turn it into a musical. And oh my gosh, I'm getting chills just thinking about the musical numbers. I loved them so much. I mean, all of the performers just like truly gave their all and their heart and their love to the story and to each other. It was really beautiful. It is such a beautiful love story. If you don't know the story of The Notebook, go watch the movie or read the book or see the Broadway play. It's so heartwarming and heartbreaking the whole time. There's actually a lot of lines about like sadness and joy. And they did such a good job with that. Like, I'm a sucker. I am a sucker for romance, for love, for chasing after what you want and all of that. And that's what this story is. And like people coming into themselves and realizing what they want and defying expectations and like chasing love and like there's just like so many of those big themes. And I really loved how they did like the different ages of the characters. So there was multiple actors playing the same characters at different phases, and then sometimes they would come together and you would get these different perspectives of this character's life because you see it from 2 different viewpoints or 3 different viewpoints. And it was beautiful. I think it was a really, really wonderful way to revamp this story that so many of us know and love, and just give it a fresh feel. And gosh, it was amazing. Go listen to the soundtrack. It's really good. It's like, it just feels like classic, not classic musical theater, but like classic musical theater. That doesn't make any sense at all. Like, it just, the songs are just like so driven by emotion and circumstance, and like so many of the songs are like within the character processing this big life moment, and that is just like so fun to see. That's something that I love about musical theater, is just like, it's like you're driven to sing about this moment, and that every song really felt like that in this show, and I loved it. Okay, next, Hell's Kitchen. Oh, it's so good. It's you're just dropped into New York City in the 90s. The grind, the grunge, the culture, the everything. The story is so powerful. It's so riveting, and it's so relatable, you know, especially as an artist or a performer, or literally anyone that's ever been a teenager that's like trying to do something and your mom doesn't want you to do it, and you're trying to do this with your friends and you're figuring out, I want that, and you're owning your power. Just like, there's so much going on in such a wonderful way. And the actress who plays Allie is so good. There was a moment where, like, a little bit into the show, maybe like the second number, like pretty early on, like she had been singing, and you're hearing this incredible voice, and you're watching the story, and the ensemble's amazing. Then she starts to dance, and you're just like, okay, talk about a triple threat. Talk about a triple threat. Yes, girl, get it. Yes, and then the ensemble, I love whoever made this show. I love the fact that there is a dance ensemble and a singing ensemble. That is not super common anymore. That used to be how like all musicals were, but it's not common anymore. The ensemble does everything now most of the time. And in this show, there was a specific dance ensemble, a specific singing ensemble, and there's something about it where I just feel like I see people shine in a different way in the ensemble, and I'm able to like watch the dancers in certain moments and then watch the singers, or it does something to the tone of the show, I feel like, and just the whole picture of everything, when there's just that specificity in like who's driving the story in what kind of way, and it's not like everyone doing everything. I think there's a time and a place for both, and I think that this show did that really well, and I loved it. I loved it. There's a theme. I love theater. I love all of these shows. Lempicka. Okay, speaking of loving all of these shows, this was not my favorite. Oh my gosh, it's gonna happen every time. It wasn't my favorite, and I know it's a lot of people's favorite shows right now. I am not gonna say anything bad about it, because there's not anything bad to say about it. It just wasn't my cup of tea. So some thoughts that I had on it were, I felt like I needed, as an audience member where I was watching that show, I craved a little bit more levels. I felt like the whole show was like the whole time, like as it should be. The story is very just like heart-wrenching and like driven by this person searching for their own identity, their identity as an artist, their identity within their own family, their identity within their, like, it is very, very high stakes as it is, just the story, because it's based on a real story. If you don't know anything about this show, it is about an artist, Lempicka, and just Google her. I'm not gonna pretend that I can dilute the plot or the story. But yeah, so that's like, that was the biggest thing for me. Just while I was watching it, I was just like, the whole time. It's fine. That's what the show was, and that was, I think, what it was really trying to do, and just like highlight that drama and that angst and that like the main character is like torn between love and torn about her place as a woman, as an artist, as a person, and like so much is going on. So yeah, I think that's like the only, it's not a criticism at all, but that's just like the thought that I'll give for just my opinion on it, was like why it wasn't necessarily my favorite or I was like blown away by it, was like I think that I was just like a little bit too like, you know, so that doesn't make a lot of sense. But I love seeing new musicals by like new writers, and that is one of the most amazing things about this show, even though it was short-lived because it did close. These writers and these people got their show on Broadway, and like literally nothing else matters. Like, yes, everyone wishes it had a longer life, and like there's so much to be said about the industry and all that stuff, but like you did it. Like you did it. This show was on Broadway. Amazing. Yeah. And like with that said, of like the tone being like all the musical numbers were incredible, were powerful, were well done. I remember the first moment of the character Raphael coming on stage and just being like captivated immediately, and yeah, really, really wonderful. And again, going back to what I had said about Patriots as well, like this is a historical story and about a real person, and I didn't know anything about it, and now I do, and now I'm curious to learn more. And it was a pivotal moment in history for women, for art, for so many things, and that's like just such a cool thing that theater can do. Theater. Okay, another history one. I know which one was not my favorite. Okay, this might be my favorite. I think if anyone knows me or spends time with me recently, they'll probably be like, yeah, obviously this is your favorite, because I can't stop talking about it. When I say I can't stop talking about a show after I see it until I see the next one, this one I can't stop talking about it or thinking about it. Now that the soundtrack is out, I keep listening to it. I'm obsessed. It's so good. I have a lot of like personal bias. One of those things is really, really meaningful. So when I was in college, my senior year, we actually had the opportunity to work on a couple songs from an early version of this show, because the writer, Shayna Taub, went to Cap 21 when it was part of NYU, and I went to Cap 21 after it was part of Malloy College, and my acting teacher, Larry Arancio, call back to Dope Sick, he is in that. He was in touch with Shayna, and we had this class that was just like a little bit low structure, and it was all girls. We had just done the musical 9. Anyway, Larry contacted Shayna. He got her to send some material that we could just work on and play with in class, and it was 2 songs from Suffs. And that experience in and of itself was so cool. And then seeing this show and recognizing those songs, amazing. But yeah, there's so much I could say about the show. I could make a whole freaking video about this show because I can't stop thinking about it. But I will make a few points. One thing that is fantastic is that Shayna Taub wrote the book, the lyrics, the music, and she stars in it. So, praise. Bravo. Freaking Bravo. That's incredible. That's enough said. I love the music. I think it's so unique. And I love the all-female cast. Even the character of Woodrow Wilson is played by Grace McLean, who, icon. I love that. I love that flip. I love that it's an all non-male cast. It was a really powerful show for me. Again, learn about history, right? Shayna puts it in her bio, and it's also in the lyrics of at least one of the songs, how this is dedicated to every loud little girl. And I was and am a loud little girl. I've often internalized the belief that like I can be too much or too loud or too whatever, too forceful, too anything. And I really identified with that quality of the show, and how, you know, if you have a loud and powerful voice, then you can use it and you can be heard. And I just love that message. And it also feels so even the historical story of women fighting for the right to vote, the whole story and all the themes and all of the like specific moments that characters go through are so relevant still today, and so that is really powerful, and I love the power of theater. Okay, next we're gonna talk about Water for Elephants. This show was really spectacular. One thing I'll talk about with this one is that if I don't know about a show before we buy tickets and go, I don't really look it up. I don't know. I'm like happy to just go in having no idea what's about to happen and just receiving the story. And so this was a great example of that. I knew absolutely nothing about this show going into it, and so I didn't even know that it had anything to do with the circus. And I was at the circus. I mean, oh my gosh, it was so cool. All of the circus performers, I don't know what the right term would be for these actors and dancers and performers that were doing all of these, you know, aerial tricks and so much amazing work and performance, and it was such a fantastic spectacle among like such a heart-driven story, and it was so unique. The puppets were incredible for the horse and the elephant, of course. Oh my gosh, just really, really cool, really unique theater. Definitely one to see. Everyone does such a good job. The story is so moving, and it's like theater magic the whole time. Oh, I loved it. I loved it. Okay, honorable mention of the Playbill. I won't go too far in because it wasn't like a show in and of itself, but Broadway Backwards. I've never been to Broadway Backwards before. I was lucky enough to go, and wow, it was so exciting. There was just like so many performers that I have just been such a fan of like my whole life as a little theater nerd, because it was just like icon after icon after icon. What is my life? It's incredible. So this is in the stack, so we're mentioning it. Okay, now we have quite the collection of Playbills here. I actually have a fourth one, but I saw it in November, so it's not in this pile from 2024. How to Dance in Ohio. Okay, so this show, I saw it 4 times, so that might tell you a little bit about how I feel about it. But it was also one of my good friends, Connor, his Broadway debut, which was so special, and he was so amazing. We were in a show together 2 years ago. It was so wonderful to see him on Broadway. And I've been following the journey of this show for years because Connor's been in it the whole time. They did workshops and an out-of-town show in Syracuse and more workshops in the city and so much before getting the chance to take the show to Broadway. I felt like I had watched the journey of this show, and it was so special to see the culmination of all of the work that had gone into it. It was also something like 46 or something Broadway debuts among the cast and the crew, which is so special in and of itself. Cast, creative, and crew. So the writers and the director and so many people. And that is always so wonderful to see. There's always so much love and joy among so many Broadway debuts, and it was amazing. So a little bit about How to Dance in Ohio. It's based on a documentary of the same name, and the documentary follows a group of autistic young adults in Ohio who are in group therapy with Dr. Amigo, and the section of their development that the documentary follows is them preparing for a spring formal dance and learning all that goes into that, and learning a lot of different skills leading up to that, depending on where these people are, what skills they need to learn, want to learn, and all that jazz. So these brilliant writers turned that documentary and those characters into a musical, and it was so special because not only did it highlight the autistic community in a new way, bringing autistic actors to the stage and autistic stories to the stage, it also did a lot of work to bring awareness and acceptance around the differences of autistic experiences. So this could be like a million videos, but one thing that the documentary highlighted on its own, just because it's the reality, but that the show did really, really well, and the writers did really well, and the actors did really well, was highlighting all the individuality within these people underneath this umbrella label that they all share. And because that's really all that it is. They start the show with introducing themselves on stage at the front, and Connor gets to say, as his character Tommy, gets to say the line, you know, some people say that when you meet one autistic person, you've met one autistic person. And what that saying means is we're all different. We are all different. We're all individual humans, just like everybody else. And that's just that. There are struggles that we share, there are traits that we share, and there might be experiences that we share because of our autism. But at the end of the day, we're full, well-rounded people, and we just are dealing with our own circumstances and our own experiences and our own perception, just like everybody else. And the end of that line that Connor says is, and tonight you're meeting 7 autistic people. And I love that because the show follows all 7 characters somewhat equally in a way that just highlights all of that. Everyone's unique experiences, unique reactions, unique perspective on what could be seen as the same circumstance. And it was such a beautiful show, and it was so meaningful to me, to everyone involved, and to so many audience members. I saw it so many times for a lot of different reasons, but a couple of the reasons are that the theater company that Connor and I did the show together with was able to connect with some other foundations and companies and organizations, and so I got deals on tickets a couple times, and through those times I was in the audience with majority other autistic adults or parents of autistic children or adults, and or people within the community or adjacent to the community or involved in organizations, and just that whole community really feeling like there was this safe place to experience a musical, for one, go to a Broadway show and see yourself on stage in a new way, and maybe see yourself in different versions among all the characters, or identify with one character really strongly in their experience. Or so I'm gonna stop myself here because as I could talk about most of these shows all day, I could actually talk about this show forever, and I probably will. So okay, moving on. Off-Broadway shout out, The Mind Mangler. The show was really fun. It was like a silly spoof of a magic show, or like a mentalist. It was really fun. It was really, really funny. It was a really fun time. The 2 actors did just such a good job. They were just hilarious, and there was like little bits of audience participation, which is always really fun for the people that end up on stage, and to see how they respond and how the actors have to deal with them. And it was really, really fun. I don't think it's around anymore, but maybe it'll be in a city near you. I don't know. I think it tours. But Mind Mangler, little off-Broadway shout out. Another little off-Broadway shout out. Not that seeing a show off-Broadway is like any less than seeing a show on Broadway. Like, hello, we're in New York City. The White Rose. This was really cool. I remember recognizing the main girl. Oh, what's her name? Jo Ellen Pellman. Yes, Jo Ellen Pellman. I recognized her from the Prom movie, and she was phenomenal. The story was really cool. It was set during World War II, and it was sort of a perspective on that story I hadn't seen before, and again, historical relevance and intrigue about the movement of the White Rose. One really cool thing about this show was that we saw an understudy that was going on for the first time, and it seemed like it was some sort of last minute situation, and the show might have still been in previews, and the director actually came up before the show to kind of let us know that one of the actors might be holding a script at certain points throughout the show, and just please bear with us all. And I love that, and I love seeing those moments of live theater when you're just like, oh yeah, this is live theater, and these are just people doing a job and doing a show and making the most of it. And that guy did so good. Like, I think it would be so hard to have to stay present within the story and with the other actors while not being fully off book and having to check in with the script and the songs and stuff like that. There was literally one moment of the whole show where anything got off at all, and he had to like flip a page or go back or like fix something one time the whole show. And like, that's so incredible. And he was so present the whole time, regardless of having a binder in his arms. And like, just props to that guy and to everyone else on stage too for like holding that space for him and being with him and being present in that, and also allowing themselves to be present in the story while they're on stage with someone holding a binder. I mean, like, the beauty of theater. I love it. And last but not least, the first show I saw of 2024, Days of Wine and Roses. Okay, this show was so raw in a way that was undeniable of, getting this, man, I don't even know what I'm saying. This show was so stunning and so heart-wrenching and so beautiful and so awful and so hard to see, and so like there were so many levels of it. So to make any of that make sense, it tackles a lot of heavy themes around addiction, alcoholism specifically, and what that does to people and what that does to those people's families and jobs and relationships. And wow, it was really, really powerful. And the writer of the music, Adam Gettle, he is known for writing hefty themes, musicals with heavy themes. And I think he really does a really good job. There's just something about, like, not every musical is a little happy-go-lucky musical comedy or The Notebook, where it's all about love and yearning, and there can still be this beauty through the music and through this medium of storytelling. Whew, it can be really powerful. And gosh, Kelly O'Hara and Brian Darcy James, are you kidding? I mean, it seems like it was written for them, specifically Kelly O'Hara. I mean, the musicality and the quality of her voice is so unique and so powerful, and it just goes so well with Adam Gettle's writing. There's a cosmic connection between her voice and that music and this story. It was amazing. It was so, so powerful. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Wow. Well, that was this amazing stack of playbills of incredible experiences in the theater. Thank you for listening. Thank you for letting me nerd out. My little theater nerd heart is singing. And I just really, really love seeing shows, experiencing theater of all varying degrees. And so, yeah, I'm really shocked that it took this long on my YouTube channel for there to be a big old theater nerd video. But as you can see, this probably won't be the last. So, if you made it this far, thank you so much. If you are a theater nerd just like me, I really want to have conversations with you about all of this. Do you disagree with me? Do you agree with me? Do you have other thoughts? Do you have questions about shows? Do you want to see a show and you don't know what to pick? I have these bins of playbills. I may have seen the show you're considering. I can give you my opinion. I can tell you what I liked. I can tell you, whatever. If you also love theater, if you've seen any of these shows and you have any other thoughts and you want to have a conversation, please comment and I will reply, and I would love to have a conversation. I definitely will be making more theater related videos if y'all like this. It's a big part of my life and I will talk about it forever if someone lets me. So thanks for watching.